Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the official Bay Street Barons podcast. I am your host, Farhan Said.
I'm Alex Koustoris.
And I'm Nuwair.
And today's episode, we're going to be switching it up a little bit. We're going to be talking, of course, about finance, nothing but finance, but we're going to be speaking a little bit on some pieces of media, some books, some movies, and some shows that kind of inspired us to get into finance, that we like, that all revolve around finance, and just some stuff that we think you guys should check out. So, without further ado, I think let's get started with the books because the books are kind of. Oh, there's Alex. What was I saw
I'm,
you
I'm
move
get
in.
I'm getting my stack ready. I
Let, let,
drove
let's
over to
see
the
let's see the
library.
stack. Let's see the
So
stack.
obviously I've got a couple of different books, and they range in like finance nerdiness to like just basic leadership kind of stuff. So, but anyways, if we're gonna talk about finance and we're gonna talk about books, you have to start with the classic. You can't not talk about it, right?
The Bible of finance.
Right. Intelligent Investor by Ben Graham, one of the best investing books, if not the best out there. Like this is my copy. You can see all the bookmarks, all the doggy ears, and all the spine wear from me reading it way too many times. It's perfect if I was to recommend one of these books for a beginner investor, it's going to be this one. Like just pick it up, read it. Chapter 8 on market fluctuation is just fantastic. Can't recommend it more. So I think I'm just gonna run through all my books and then we can kind of like talk about them afterwards. I think that's the best way to do it.
Let's do it, yeah.
And then the next one, so that one that I have read, this one I'm currently reading. So this is valuation of banks and insurance companies, so financial companies. This is very nerdy, very, very like technical, very industry specific stuff. Uh, Not for like the beginner at all. It's very in-depth nerd. Like it's a 10 on the nerd meter for like banking. Like I'm sure if Farhan was to pick this up, he would start falling asleep. Like if the normal person was to pick it up, like it's quite like you gotta be a nerd. And then one that's next on my docket is the bigger brother to the intelligent investor. This is Security Analysis, also by Ben Graham. Great book. Heard nothing but great things about it. Warren Buffett talking about it. It's right here on the back. Speaking of a roadmap for investing that I have been following for 57 years. So clearly, it has shown its trends in working out well for its readers. And then now onto some leadership books. One that I particularly like is if you're talking about like just pure leadership and pure like decision making and analyzing a situation. This is Crusade in Europe. It's by Dwight Eisenhower. It's about the Allied recapturing of like Normandy and kicking the Nazis out of France and like because for those of you that don't know, Dwight Eisenhower was the Supreme Allied Commander during World War II. So he was the main guy. So all the military decisions would have gone through him. So like you're talking about business dealings, and then this guy's out here making life or death decisions with people's lives. Um, One of the most successful military operations in history was Normandy. So just like chock full of wisdom.
And a little
And
historical with that one, eh?
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, I'm a big history nerd as well. And then another good one on leadership, a bit more business oriented. This is called Last Man Standing. It's about Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase throughout his career, from when he worked at Citi to throughout the financial crisis to current day. Great read. As you can see, also lots of uh, doggy ears for different points that I would like to reference back to. So that's my list. That's my reading list. What do you guys think?
Well, I think we should definitely start off by talking a little bit about Ben Graham because I think you had three or two books from
I
him.
got two Graham books here.
Two Graham books. So Benjamin Graham, for those who don't know, what was his era? I think he like kind of like the late 1800s to like early 1900s, right?
Like the 40, like, well, he was a professor, right? So he taught Warren Buffett, so it would have been the 60s, 50s, 60s.
Oh, okay, yeah. So maybe a little, okay, I'm a little off then. but he's essentially known as the father of value investing, and his whole thing was evaluating a stock and its intrinsic value and all those fancy terms that you hear
Buy and
are
hold.
yeah, is that's him. That's essentially Benjamin Graham's thing. But Alex, maybe you can go a little in depth. Let's talk about the intelligent investor because, like we said, it's commonly known as the Bible of investing and what every beginner investor should start with, and should not start with Wall Street bets. You should start with
Yeah.
this book
Yes.
right
Yes.
here.
This is advice. Start with this. So it basically goes through all the basics that someone should know when they're getting into it. And the main thing that like I got out of it is not necessarily anything like analytical numbers wise, but it's the mindset that the investing mindset, which plays back to that episode we did a while back, but like the it gives you the steps to say, okay, let's look at the balance sheet. What is this company worth? All right. According to this analysis, we think it's worth $168 currently. It's currently trading at 130. I'm going to buy it. Next day it goes down to 128. I don't care. I know what it's worth. You know what I mean? You're not phased by any sort of market fluctuations. It's the whole, oh, look, it's on sale mentality comes out of this for me personally. I don't know about you guys, but that's where I got like the whole, ooh, look, sale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's kind of sorry. Go ahead, Nor.
No, I was just saying I have the book as well. I've not finished it yet. Got it recently. But I think there was some quote about people always feel safe buying stocks when they're going up, whereas it should be the opposite. Because if a stock's
The
going up, that means
opposite.
becoming more expensive. Whereas if it's going down, you're like, okay, it's cheaper. That
Right.
means there's less risk involved, for me because there's less money that I could lose and there's more upside. So I think that's more like that
Right.
mentality of investing versus trading, where you're like, if a stock has gone down a lot, then okay, it's cheaper now. Whereas if it's gone up and it's still going to go, like it's still going up, you're like, okay, it keeps getting more expensive. That means it's more, it's closer to the value where it should be, meaning it's more risky for me to invest in that stock.
Right. The
Exactly.
whole section on Mr. Market is the analogy.
I think this book is super relevant and like important, especially in today's day and age, and I guess you could say culture, if you will, of investing, because this book is all about evaluating a stock based on the company's value, based on raw numbers, statistics, accounting for market conditions, inflation, and just really valuing a company for what it actually is. It has nothing to do with catalysts or Elon Musk or Twitter or
Yeah,
investing
there's no
groups.
tweet section.
Yeah, no speculation. No, it's raw numbers, and it goes by statistics, it goes by the facts, and I think that it's a really good read for people who are new to investing in this day and age. Definitely an amazing read. I haven't so I've read that one, The Intelligent Investor. I haven't read Security Analysis, but Alex, maybe you want to talk a little bit about
I've
that
actually
one?
not read it yet either. It's on my it's next up.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm I'm
Okay.
in the nerdy book at the moment.
Right, bank
I can
valuation.
be here all day talking about this one. You don't want to open that can of worms.
I don't want to hear the formulas. No one's here for
Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna fall
Oh,
asleep
jeez, I'll
if
come
if we
back with
start
a
talking about that
whiteboard.
one.
Yeah.
If we should do an episode like that, it's just gonna be titled the insomnia episode. If you have insomnia, please play this clip of Alex talking about banks for 8 hours straight.
Oh man. But how's that? Actually, no. Let's yeah. Okay, let's not go there. But just talk a little bit about the gist of the bank valuation one. I mean, it's still an
It's
important thing.
it's
Don't go.
it's a tech book. Like it's talking about like it goes through the different like it starts off with like economics of banking and then it goes into regulatory capital requirements. And then it talks about how to evaluate a bank. So that's the section that I'm all giddy to get to, like how to build a model to account for a bank because building a DCF for a bank is extremely difficult as
Much different, right?
something like a deposit is technically classified as on demand debt, so it can't be classified in either the current assets or current liabilities section because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Mm-hmm. I mean, no word. Just like, yeah, sure,
Like,
man.
oh
It's-
no, he started. Oh no, oh no, oh no.
What do you guys think? And this is like a little off topic, but what do you guys think was like one piece of material, or it could even be like a course that you take in school that really helped you understand or maybe just kind of really get into investing? I think. Really? It,
Alex
it,
puts
it
up
was
his
that book for you,
book.
100%? So when did you get that book? Was that in high school? Was that?
Well, I always had the like I wanted to invest. I was always intrigued by it. I'm a big like numbers person. And I was intrigued by it that way. But my whole mentality, like the entire way I look at a stock and think about an investment, completely shifted upon reading this.
Hmm.
So, like people that have read this book and heard me and watched the previous episodes and heard me talking, especially in the investing versus trading episodes, you can clearly tell what book I've read because like it's just such a like a piece of text that just sticks with you. You don't forget the things that are read and that you read in this book, like the way you think. It's like almost like from that point on you're changed. And like it's
Hmm.
super cliche, but in the beginning of the book, the author, forget his name, that does the elaborated notes on each chapter, said in the beginning of the book, like, I envy you if you're reading this book for the first time. And it's
Yeah, I remember
true.
that. Yeah. I think for me, and this is super nerdy, but I think one of the things that I'm like glad, like a course I'm glad I took was accounting. Because once I did start investing, I was so glad that I was able to make a lot of sense of these ratios, just being able to read different financial statements, going on an annual report and actually knowing what all that, all those jumbled up numbers actually mean. You know what I mean?
All the lingo.
Um,
Now that I
all the
think about
lingo, you
it,
know what I mean?
yeah, now that I think about it, you mentioning that it's like, because like in my head, it's like okay, everybody understands what a balance sheet is, but well, that's not true because we've taken accounting. We're in accounting and finance, so we get that. Um, but yeah, I mean, if
Mhm.
you don't know what a balance sheet is or like what a cash flow statement is, investing all of a sudden becomes close to speculation or trading because I mean, what are you basing your analysis off?
Yeah, like I know people who can tell you like what's a good PE ratio, but they can't even tell you what it strands from. Do you know what I mean? Or they can't even tell you they can't tell you anything about a balance sheet, you know? So I
Yeah,
don't know. I think it's just one of those things that I'm glad I took that. I think I don't want to say give me like a head start or anything, but it was a tool that I'm glad or a skill I'm glad I learned. Definitely.
I'm gonna be honest though. High school accounting was not it. I did not enjoy high
It
school
was
accounting. That was like I got the work. I understood. I got my marks, but it was that one class I would go to. I'm like, okay, time to open up the textbook. Okay, we're just reading the same stuff that we've been doing for the past like 3 weeks or whatever.
so much repetition,
Yeah, it
Hard
was.
so much.
disagree. Hard disagree there. Like yeah, it is repetitive, but like when I was in high school, me and my buddies were just so competitive with each other that like we were like vying to like everything was a competition like in our accounting class in high school with like me and two buddies. Like we both were so competitive that in grade 12 we both finished with 100%.
Oh my God. Did you say you would like speed run the test or some like
Yeah, we would
crazy
we
shit like
would try
that?
to speed run it too because we both would get 100. So then the next best thing to do is we could do 100 faster.
That's so dangerous. The amount of lines that there are in accounting, like my eyes
Yeah.
would start, you know what I mean?
No,
Like
grade.
I would
So
always have
like,
anxiety on the test,
but
being able to
now
like
I'm
quiz a number
broken
there.
to where I can't like when I'm trying to do an accounting like an assignment or something, I can't do it slow. If I do it slow, I make mistakes. I need to go as fast as I can.
You see, I was the
I think
opposite.
it's a good thing, I guess.
I would take my time
Yeah,
because the thing
same.
was we wouldn't move ahead unless everyone was done. Like everybody's handed it in, then it's like
Oh
okay.
no.
So I would be like, bro, why should I finish this quickly? You know? So I would just be writing stuff, and I would just start like going to my own head, start thinking about random stuff. And like, okay, time to get back to making my T table debits equal credits and everything. It's just, and also I think it
Well,
depends a
also
lot
the
on the
worst thing was
class.
what?
It also
Sorry.
depends on the class, like who's in class with you. 'Cause, I mean, grade 11 was like thinking back was quite interesting, whereas grade 12 I did not enjoy that much. That class, it was right before lunch. I was just tired. Like I just want to get to lunch, man. Like just.
Yeah. The worst feeling was not having
Oh
balance at the
yeah,
end, and
the
you gotta go back and redo
anxiety.
the whole damn
The
thing. Oh my
anxiety of
God.
once you
And nightmares.
calculate one side and then you have to click equals on the other side, that anxiety is just like, oh my God. And then it's multiplied even higher when it's like a university accounting exam and it's like you're doing
Yeah.
the balance sheet and it's like, okay. Oh my God.
Your
Oh my
heartbeat
God.
starts rising
Oh
before
my
you, like your
God.
hand shaking to press equal.
No, I
Oh
remember.
my
It's
God.
true though. It's true.
Like we had
Yeah.
like this class group chat, whatever. So I remember afterwards people be like, "Yo, my balance sheet didn't balance," and it's like, "Yo, just hope for the best. Let's just hope you did everything else right, because
Yeah,
in
honestly.
accounting, I mean, at the end of the day, once you're done, like you know if you did well or not. You're like, okay, my balance sheet balanced out. Everything worked out. I did my journal entries right. Everything seems right. Whereas with like other stuff, it's a bit more like I just hope. I'm hoping that all my work was right. Whereas accounting is like, if you know what you're doing, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna know like, yeah, okay, all my stuff is right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
accounting is not if you look at the grades of an accounting class, like it's not like a math class where you have like 90, 80, 70, 60. Accounting will be 90s, like low 90s, high 80s or 70s.
Yeah.
It's either you get it or you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not an enjoyable class, but it is a useful class. So
yeah,
that's the best way to put it. Unless you're Alex and you're
yeah.
speedrunning it, but I mean that's different.
It was even more stressful because it's like the extra added like you have to like, and we did that in like two other classes too because we were in the same class as us three
That's
guys.
mad.
So it's just like even like same thing with the financial securities course that we had in high school. We were doing the exact same thing. Oh, and then it's like, oh, you got a 99 on your assignment, loser.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
I mean, let's move on. I mean,
All right, well
we're
let's
talking about books.
yeah,
Yeah,
let's talk a little bit of oh yeah, you want to stay on books, you want to move
No,
on to
let's
something
move on.
like
we can
let's
move
move
on.
on. Let's go to TV shows and movies. Let's start with shows.
Shows. Well,
What finance shows are you guys been on?
a couple of my. I mean, this one's not directly finance related, but Suits. I know there. It's kind of like that corporate world, but I know there was a season or so where they dive more into investment banking, and again, they show like that cliche of just you're working those long hours to get your work done. There's no like relaxing. It wasn't so much on like finance focus, but more so of like what investment banking really is in the aspect. Not like like it wasn't the same content as you would get from books where you're actually learning something. It was more so of just like, oh, okay, that's investment banking. Okay. What about you,
Mhm.
Farhan? You
Yeah,
have any shows?
dramatization.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not
Show
going to be anything like from the TV or movies. I don't think at least that's actually going to be like I actually learned a lot of things. It's
Yeah.
going to be like, oh, you know what, I picked up the term or I saw a dramatization of what it would actually look like, stuff like that.
yeah, which is kind of cool to see sometimes.
Yeah.
For me, I would say it's a lot of it's more so movies, and it's funny you say investment banking. I feel like investment banking is the one is the you see in movies just because it's interesting, right? I mean, it's a cutthroat
Yeah.
environment. It's a lot of well, in the movies at least they show a lot of guys just doing coke and driving Ferraris because they're just rich
uh,
and it's that lifestyle.
So
Um,
like
yeah, what?
no one's going to want to see someone doing an income statement, but
yeah.
Yeah,
one
there's no movies on accountants, but
one TV show that I personally like that had a lot of like finance talk was HBO Succession. It's really really good. It's about this family and the dad is like a newspaper tycoon and it's like which one of the kids is going to take over. So it's like a dark comedy drama type show, but there's a lot of mergers and acquisitions talk throughout the show, bear hugs, hostile shareholders, things like that. Um, Debt to equity, stuff like that. There was even one point I think they actually mentioned like they had a loan and there was a covenant that the stock price couldn't get lower than a certain point. So it's like a lot of those terms, like you subtly pick it up, but
I think
mhm.
another
it
good.
was really
It's also kind of yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was saying another good reality show, whatever. I think Shark Tank. Everybody knows what Shark Tank is. Like it's
Of
there
course, yeah.
related to
That's a
finance and
good one.
business. I mean, you get the gist of like what are these people looking at when they're making these investment, or like what are they like how are they
Looking for.
structuring their deals, and stuff like that.
Mhm. Yeah, I love Shark Tank. That's definitely a big one. A movie definitely for me, the one that I watched recently is Margin Call. Have you guys seen it with Kevin
I
Spacey?
have not.
I just recently
No
saw it.
review.
Yeah, great
It
movie.
was again, it explores. Yeah, it was really good. Explores. So it's basically about this investment or this hedge fund. And they basically something happens where like their formula or their system that they're using, like there's like there's some error in it, and eventually their whole system and their whole hedge fund is starting to like just crumble. And it basically then shows like the ins and outs and the reality of a hedge fund and the investment bankers in there and how it really gives you an insight onto how the hierarchy works. Into it gives you an insight onto how cutthroat the industry is, the long hours, everything like that. It was written actually the director, I forgot his name, but I read somewhere he was the son of an investment banker, which is kind of how he kind of I guess kind of got the idea for that. But yeah, it's really interesting.
I mean, you spoke about the hours. I remember watching. I think they was like at 4 a.m. or whatever. They were having like these meetings, and they're like, "All right, be back by 6. We gotta get this figured out." Like it really shows. I mean,
Yeah.
like their higher ups just like when something needs to be done, like such. Because I think it was what they had assets on their books that were like in reality worth nothing, or something that they had to get rid of, something like that. So they were like,
Mhm.
gotta get it done by before markets open, because we need to like sell this stuff off before we go down.
Yeah, and I mean the movie starts with this guy who's trying to tell the hedge fund managers like, hey, like something's off with the books, this and that. But just because his time there was done, he wasn't providing much for the company. They were like, no man, like you're gone. Like they fired him. It started off with that with this guy getting fired. So and when you watch it again, a lot of the terminology and just a lot of the handling kind of it's really I mean, I can't say it's an accurate depiction because of course I haven't worked in a hedge fund, but I would like to think and what I've read at least online is that it's a really accurate depiction of just how of like the operations inside these large financial institutions. So I thought that was pretty cool. Another one is Money Monster. Did you guys see that?
I have
I have
not.
not seen that one.
Really? With what's his name? George Clooney.
Nope.
This one is one of those. So George Clooney is basically a finance talk show host, and he like recommends stocks every Friday or something like that. And then he recommends one stock that is supposed to like is supposed to go crazy. And then one guy puts his life savings into it essentially, and then it goes the complete opposite way. And then he comes onto the show, takes George Clooney hostage, and like yeah, that's it. Kind of goes from there.
Let's not make any stock recommendations.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
uh, yeah,
Yeah.
don't want a hostage
One
situation.
Yeah.
one movie that I liked a lot. It was I don't think it was in theaters at all. I think it was like a HBO like direct to home movie. It was based on Andrew Ross Sorkin's book Too Big to Fail. It's about 2008. So it basically follows Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson during 2008
Oh,
as
I think I've seen this.
yeah, like as everything is kind of like crumbling in it, and like he's like calling like like trying to get everything together. It's a really good depiction of the events and like how he's trying to balance the political influence that he has to deal with while he's also having to deal with the all the bank CEOs, and it's like trying to make everyone come to the table and make a deal, and like some people are dealing with like all kinds of different problems that came up.
I
Mhm.
think my favorite movie. Um, whoa, Alex's screen is glitching a bit. I think that might just be on my end. Um,
Oh, we're good. Hello?
Hello?
yeah, I don't know. I think Alex's screen is glitching a bit. Maybe that's just on my end. Alex, hello.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, I have no clue. But yeah, I was just saying.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. I think my favorite movie in finance, and this is gonna sound cliche, but I think it has to be The Big Short. Just because I think I've watched that
It's
like
such a good movie.
at least 5 times, and each time it's
Yeah.
just wow.
No, it is. It is. It's definitely one of the better ones for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, Adam
Um,
McKay, yeah, the director is really good, and Steve Carell's great in it.
yeah. Who else is in it? Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a really good job again showing the cutthroatness of the industry, showing just the risk taking and everything. It was really really good.
And it
They
like
it, they did a good job with the whole dramatic effect and the dramatic aspect of the movie as well, rather than just making it too technical, which I think
yeah.
was what made it really really gripping.
I mean, I still remember like the Steve Carell scene where he's like, "No, we sell when I say we sell." I think that scene is just so
Yeah,
iconic.
seeing Steve Carell in a serious role like that was such a
Yeah.
you know such a
Uh,
different thing. I'm used to seeing him as what's his name from The Office. Yeah, that's a great one though. I think that probably is the most popular finance movie. That won like Oscars and stuff, did it not?
and did it?
I'm not sure.
I mean, there's that, and then
Must
there's
have been
Wolf of Wall Street. But
Well,
I
I
mean,
would
it's
no.
not really a. Is it even a finance movie? Like,
No.
it's
no.
no, it's not. It's a Scorsese like kind of lifestyle, drug, sex, and hookers type of thing. But it's a good movie though. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's a good movie. Is it a good finance movie? Nope.
Definitely
No,
not something to recommend to people who are looking to get into finance
Yeah,
it's
because you should
not
not do what he
it's
did.
not a good finance movie as it clearly is glorifying,
The
basically theft.
wrongdoings. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, not a good finance movie, but a good movie. Just to
yeah.
watch.
I mean, a good finance
Um,
movie. I would say to like anyone when they ask me like, okay, what's a good movie for like finance, whatever. I would easily say the Big Short. Like if that should be
yeah.
like the first movie. Cause I mean, it's the most well known as well, is it not? For like
I
Yeah,
finance
mean,
or
yeah,
whatever.
probably.
So
it
like I mean, if you
is.
haven't seen
Yeah,
that and you're listening to this podcast, go watch that movie.
yeah, and everybody knows about the 2008 crisis, so it's something relevant too.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's that or Margin Call from I really liked Margin Call. That was really good.
yeah, for sure. Margin Call was. When did I watch it? I watched it like maybe a couple weeks ago, and
Like it keeps you on the edge of your seat because it
yeah,
all starts, like it goes so quick.
it kind of reminds me of Dark Knight Rises in the sense that it's like it's suspenseful from the beginning, where it's like it's
Yeah,
building, it
right from the
keeps
get-go.
building up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
What else? What's some other media? Is there any other media that kind of is really about finance that's really inspired you guys, or just I don't.
I mean, not that
I
I
know
can
you, Alex.
think
You watch a
of.
lot of Jim Cramer, don't you? Or no?
I don't. I watch like basically all I can, so I do a little bit of the CNBC. I watch from all the different sources, and I don't watch as much as I read. I do a lot more reading than I do watching, I think.
hmm
It's just how I retain information better.
Like aside from the books, or like mainly those books? Like, are there any like blogs or anything,
Oh no, like I mean,
newsletters?
like I read the National Post, the Wall Street Journal, like
Yeah.
all of the papers in the morning, that the atypical finance ones. But
hmm Yeah, of course. Right. Yeah, well, I thought, yeah, so I mean, today's episode was a little bit different. We just thought we would kind of, give you guys some stuff that maybe you guys can go watch, read, or listen to that might either inspire you or maybe just help you learn a thing or two more about finance and investments. Um, but before we wrap up for today, was there any other things you guys wanted to mention maybe?
Two
No?
notes: read the
Sorry?
intelligent. Two things: read the Intelligent Investor and watch The Big Short if you haven't already. Those are two
Yeah.
things that I would say anyone who has not done yet should do.
Pick up the Bible, The Intelligent Investor, and then turn on Netflix. I think it's on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, The Big Short, and put that on. Definitely. All right. Well, thank you guys again for watching. Hopefully, you took something away from this. Hopefully, you guys do listen to us, take our advice, go pick up that book, go watch that movie. And that's it for today. We'll see you guys next week.